सिग्नल की वजह है, और मिस हो रही है आपकी आवाज।
To the rest of the guys, do you people face any issue with my voice? If you are facing any issue, do raise your hand, right? Okay, ji, Afaq.
Now it's fine, your voice is fine now.
If it is doing an issue, I'm trying headphone. I think it will help you.
Okay, sir. Sir, we have our NAF team is also here, which is from South America, Colombia. He's also joining. They are also joining our session today.
Okay, so am I rightly audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much again. Hamid, आपका बहुत शुक्रिया. And do we have the CEO of the organization from South America? Or he has yet to join?
I think she joined, but I don't know from which name she is, but she's joined because he messaged me that I'm joining.
Okay, thank you, Hamid, thank you. Okay, so I again welcome you on my behalf, and I'm highly grateful again to you guys for participating in today's session. We have already discussed about the 16 days of activism, so we will try to take this session forward, right? In 16 days of activism, we have discussed where did that movement started. Okay, okay. Tina, okay, okay. So, Muniba Mustafa ji, you want to say something? Muniba, you want to say something?
Actually, don't disturb, sir, during the session. Don't raise your hands at the end. If you have question, you can raise your hands at the end of the session.
हाँ, अगर अभी भी चले ओके. सो आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे थोड़ा सा अबाउट कि हमारे साथ राइट्स क्या है एज अ जेंडर जो है, किस पर्टिकुलर जेंडर से अगर हम बिलोंग करते हैं तो हमारे राइट के हमारे यहाँ पाकिस्तान की कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम देखेंगे कि हमारे साथ कौन कौन से फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं, कौन कौन से आपके राइट्स हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, कौन कौन से राइट्स और हैं, और कौन कौन से जो पॉलिसी बनेंगे दैट शुड बी अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट? Since today is our second session, let me share. Okay, so you guys be looking at my screen. हम पहले जो है मैं आपसे एक सवाल करूं कि व्हाट इज द थिंग जो कि आपके राइट्स को इंश्योर करता है, राइट? आपके फंडामेंटल राइट्स को कौन सा एक चीज़ है, वो कौन सा नुस्खा है, वो कौन सी किताब है जो कि आपकी राइट्स को इंश्योर करता है? किसी को कुछ पता है? डू यू गाइस नो कि ओके, बताइए सैयदा बताइए.
So it's the constitution which ensure the rights of the people and also enforce it on the people.
कौन सी चीज़ है आपने मुझे समझ नहीं आई है, आपने क्या बताया?
सर मैंने बताया कि ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो है तो वो इंश्योर करता है जो लोगों की राइट्स है
बहुत
उसको
बहुत
इन्फोर्स भी
जबरदस्त।
करता है लोगों को।
ठीक ठीक ठीक, सो यू
सर
हैव
आप
सेड कि
अपना क्वेश्चन।
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है। Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so Muniba Fazal, okay, tell me about today's. Tell me what is the tool, what is that book, or what is that agreement which ensures your fundamental right? बताइए Muniba Fazal.
Sir, please may I ask your question again?
Okay, you have raised your hand, so I thought you have already understood my questions. I'm saying, what is that agreement which ensures your fundamental rights? Okay, okay. Sayyida, what's your full name?
सर इट्स जोहरा हुसैन।
ओके ओके, you have rightly said कि हमारा जो इमरानी मुआहिदा है which is between the state and the citizen, right, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? उसको हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहते हैं। और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर क्या होता है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इंश्योर करता है कि तमाम सिटीजन्स के जो राइट्स हैं वो इंश्योर हो, राइट। तो हमारे यहाँ जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स के चैप्टर है हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, 1973 की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, वो किसी ने पढ़ा है?
यस सर।
अच्छा, उसके अंदर फर्स्ट चैप्टर में फंडामेंटल राइट्स कौन से आर्टिकल से आगे है?
सर उसका जो सबसे पहला वो है तो it starts from Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and the first point is that all the authority is from Almighty Allah in the state.
ओके ओके ओके, आप हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का अगर आप आर्टिकल जो फर्स्ट चैप्टर है दैट इज़ अबाउट द फंडामेंटल राइट्स, और आप आर्टिकल 9 से लेके आर्टिकल 25 तक आप देखेंगे तो ये सारे के सारे जो हैं दैट इज़ ये जो सारे के सारे हैं दैट इज़ योर फंडामेंटल राइट्स। राइट टू लिव है, राइट टू एजुकेशन है, सेफ एंड क्लीन एनवायरनमेंट जो है। आजकल जो 26th अमेंडमेंट आई है तो इसी के अंदर हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स के अंदर, फंडामेंटल राइट्स के चैप्टर के अंदर एक और एडिशन इस 9A का हुआ है। उसके अंदर एक एडिशन हुई है और उसके अंदर ये है कि क्लीन एंड सेफ एनवायरनमेंट जो है दिस इज ऑल्सो अ फंडामेंटल राइट, राइट। तो राइट की जो हम बाय डेफिनेशन हम कहते हैं राइट क्या है? राइट है, राइट, व्हाट इज राइट? राइट क्या है? राइट इज अ क्लेम ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग दैट कम्स विद हिज हर बाय बर्थ, राइट। तो राइट जो है वो क्लेम है जो क्या करता है, जो कि किसी भी ह्यूमन बीइंग के साथ वो क्या करता है, वो बाय बर्थ लेकर आता है, राइट। इफ यू ब्रेन कि आप अपने पेरेंट्स का एहतराम करेंगे। Okay, I'm sorry again if I detract from and nobody understands. I'll try to be in English, but sometimes the people of the subcontinent forget that someone from the West is sitting with us. So please forgive me. So right is something which you bring to the world by birth. So when you bring something by birth, so it means that it is equal, right? And there is a concept of equality and there is a concept of equity, right? So anything that is by birth, so that means that is divine and that should be given to each and every individual without any discrimination. Are you getting me? So without discrimination, if you are bringing something, so it means that anybody if doing if anybody is not giving you or depriving you from something, so that would be uh, discrimination and that would be depriving you from something which is fundamentally your right. So right is just it is justice, it is fair, and it is ethical, right? So this is a concept of right. Then comes, okay, what are the principles of rights, right? राइट के हक के उसके प्रिंसिपल्स क्या है? Rights, when you bring something which is by nature and which you bring with your birth with yourself, so then that should be universal. So you are living in any part of the world, it does not matter you are living in the west or you are living in the east. It does not matter you are living in the developed nation or you are living in the underdeveloped nation. It is universal, and it doesn't mean that you are living in a war country which is with the war, or it is a country which is highly developed and which is in peace, right? So peace is also one of the fundamental right. So if we are not given a peace and somebody is disturbing, so it means that they are violating our rights and they are doing something which is not acceptable internationally. If you look at the situation in Gaza, so आपको पता चलेगा कि वहाँ पर fundamental human rights का uh, there is an absolute violation of human rights at Gaza, if you look at Syria, and if you look at Lebanon, and if you look at other parts of the world. Education, United Nation has declared the basic education is the basic fundamental human right. So if the girls in Afghanistan and Iran are deprived of not being going to school, so we are fundamentally not ensuring the rights of those young children. जो so ये वो चीज़ें हैं, आगे मैं जाऊंगा, I'll be right, inalienable है। these rights जो हैं वो सारे aligned है एक दूसरे के साथ, interdependent, right? These are indivisible. You cannot divide the one right on multiple persons. Every person has a separate fundamental human right. There is right should be equal and right should be non-discriminatory. Whatever, it does not matter what religion you are belongs to, what geography you belongs to, and what nation you belongs to. It should not be fundamentally discriminatory. It should not be discriminatory. It should be non-discriminatory. And since we bring it with us by birth, so we, the human beings across the creed and colors, we are equally uh, we equally deserve to be given the fundamental human rights. ओके, यहाँ तक किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है तो प्लीज बताएं. If anybody have any questions, so please do tell. You can raise your hand. Any question?
No, sir.
Please. जी बताए प्लीज. अंशारा आलम.
Sir, इधर internet issue है. Can you repeat your question?
I've said if there till now, if anybody have any questions, so you can raise your hands.
No, sir.
Okay.
It's clear.
Okay. Okay. I'm moving forward. अच्छा जी. So then we have already used the term violence. Since we have recently commemorated the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. So what is violence? When somebody breaches your fundamental human right, when someone take away your basic right from you, so that is violence. If uh, if I'm disturbing your safe and healthy environment, it means that I'm doing environmental violence. There comes sexual violence, there comes domestic violence, there comes assault, and there comes, so there are many forms uh, of violence, right? So how do we take, how do we do violence, or how are we subjected to violence? Use of physical force or power against someone or something, often resulting in harm, injury, destruction, trolling. It can take many forms, which could be verbal, which could be emotional, which could be physical aggression, right? So when we use power, if you are in power, and if you use that power against something, if you use that power to breach the fundamental right of somebody else, it means that you are doing violence. What can this violence cause? It can harm somebody, it can disturb somebody, it can cause injury, it can destruct, it can make destruction, and it can do trolling of somebody. So violence could be verbal, it could be emotional, and this could be physical aggression, right? Okay. Now, since uh, there are three sessions, so with this, from the session two, I've met some part of those sessions. So I was just discussing with you कि हमारे यहाँ क्या क्या चीज़ें थी, क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं, वायलेंस क्या है, what is violence, what is fundamental right, and all those things, right? तो मैं सिर्फ आपको by now, मैं before I move forward, I shall again want all of you guys, okay, if you have any questions, raise your hand, otherwise I'm moving to the next session.
हाँ, तारिक शाह यहाँ पे वो मौजूद है, इमी उसका नाम है, ठीक है। अगर उनका कोई क्वेश्चन है आप उनसे जरा पूछ ले। जो हमारे साथ
किसका,
हैं वो साउथ
क्या नाम
अफ्रीका
है?
के इमी।
Amy.
ये जी जी जी।
Hi Amy, how are you? Do we have you? Hi Amy. Okay, can you please say some question? You can rightly ask me here. She left the meeting, Hamid.
ओके ओके, नो इशू।
Okay, okay. So uh, we have already discussed the difference between the gender and the gender and the sex, right? Sex is something that you are born with biologically and physically. That is something uh, called as sex. What is gender is the societal expectation, the society what the way the society wants you to be. That is called gender, right? So gender is a socially constructed description of woman and men. It is not the same as sex, and it is not the same as woman, right? जो सोसाइटी ने जिस तरह से एक सोशली कंस्ट्रक्ट किया है कि औरत कैसे होनी चाहिए, कि औरत how would a woman be, how would a man be, what are the jobs that the woman would be doing, what are the colors that woman will be doing, and what are the colors that men would be wearing. Does woman cry? If she does cry, what's the reason? If she cries, if she got hurt, we call it fine. But if she cries with the fan of the menstrual period, so what would we say? We would be saying that she isn't a strong lady. She is just a dramatic girl, and so we at certain points the society has constructed some attributes for both men and women. So on one side, the attributes that you are having, which is with you by birth and which is with you physically, those are called as sex. admission forms and other forms, you would be asked that what is your sex. So male and female is the sixth, right? While the men and women, these are the societal expectations, right? The way society has constructed certain attributes of both of these, so that we call those as gender, right? So if we are disturbing that socially, if we are violating that socially constructed attributes, then that would be called as gender-based violence. If this violence is against the biologically inherited things, then we would be calling it sexual violence. But that would not be violence, as violence is gender-based violence, right? So you got the difference between the violence on the basis of sex and violence on the basis of gender. Uh, I again welcome the team from the South America, Emily and her team. Emily, if you have any confusion, if your team want to add anything to the session, please put on your mic and we would be happy to hear from you. Okay. Okay. So what is GBV? Gender-based violence refers to various forms of harm, abuse, and unlawful acts directed against an individual or group due to their gender. This can include physical, sexual, uh, psychological, or emotional violence, as well as economic and social exploitation. Gender-based violence often targets women, girls, non-binary individuals, and marginalized communities. Right? हमारे यहाँ gender GBV could be against anybody. It could be against men and it could be against women. It could be against transgender and it could be against anyone else, right? So but usually men in this society is portrayed as a strong human, as a strong human being, as a strong form of human creature, right? So often the violence comes. Okay, so power comes with strength, and power, power cause violence. So in our society, and even in historically, if you see in today's era, so you would see that there are very minimum in number. There are 10, 12 women leaders are in the world. The rest are all men. So it means if you could see the in the corporate sector, so you would always find men are leading the organizations. So men is at the powerful position. Therefore, we less consider women in the gender-based violence. So it could be physical, it could be sexual, it could be psychological, it could be more emotional, right? Gender-based violence targets uh, women, girls, non-binary individuals, which are not girls and women, are neither neither men, neither women. So those are called non-binary individuals and marginalized communities. We time called as minorities. So you would find the transgender. They are also the marginalized communities. They are often deprived of their basic fundamental human rights, right? So we call them also their rights are also being breached, their rights are also being violated. So we consider them while we study the gender-based violence.
सर तारिक, आपकी आवाज़ जो है ना मुकम्मल ख़त्म हो गई है ही नहीं। सर तारिक, योर वॉइस वाज टोटली म्यूट।
Hamid, I'm not audible.
नाउ यू आर
And the
ऑडिबल नाउ।
reasons where the violence come from. Okay. Yeah, do we have Pashtun? Have you guys heard that Alag Chitur Shilawangin Shi
आई थिंक ऑल आर
Jine
पश्तून्स।
Alag? Okay. Rima. Okay, Rima. Okay. Alag Chitur Shilawangin Shi Jine Chitur Shi Bangli de Kharsavina. Rima, would you explain it? How would you find violence, or how would you find discrimination in this topic? जी सादिया कोई भी.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर। सर आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही है।
अच्छा, सो
सर अभी खामोश
मैंने
है तो
पूछा
इसलिए।
था कि मैं तो आपको वेट कर रहा था कि अलग चितोरशी लवंगिनशी जिन्हें चितोरशी बंगड़ी दे खरसवीना और जिन्हें या द कोरदा या द गोरदा.
जी
Right,
सर।
so this
तो
is
इसका क्या करना है सर?
okay, so what does it mean? You do listen to the instructions.
जी
I
सर,
would
मैं पश्तून
appreciate.
हूँ।
You are Pashtun, Noor
यस।
Bushra. Okay, so क्या कह रहे हैं?
जी
आपने ये
सर।
सुना है अलग चितोरशी लवंगिनशी जिन्हें चितोरशी बंगड़ी दे
जी
खरसवीना.
जी जी। जी
हाँ,
जी
so
सर।
what does.
जी सुने। जी सर सुना।
चले चले मेरे ख्याल से there is a gap between what I want to say and you guys are getting, but anyhow you would find violence and you would find the discrimination everywhere. We have some. Okay, the causes of gender based violence are patriarchal attitudes है हमारी शाही पिदरी निज़ाम है, पिदर शाही निज़ाम है हमारे यहाँ. मेन जो है दे
तारिक
आर इन
सर
पावर. मेन जो है मेन.
तारिक सर हद देव का हद.
जी.
एक्सक्यूज मी जनाब, ये आप किस तरह बात कर रहे हैं? असल में ये सेशन के दरमियान इस तरह बंदा बात नहीं करता।
I don't know, I'm taking out time for you people कि आप लोगों को कुछ सिखा सकूं. और आप लोग सीरियस लेंगे तो इन चीज़ों की आपको समझ आएगी. अदरवाइज जो है आई गो थ्रू इट क्योंकि मेरी ऑलरेडी अपनी भी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. सो ओके, जो causes क्या है? What are the causes of gender-based violence against women? So we have patriarchal attitudes. हमारे यहाँ men जो है they are in power. और हमारे यहाँ एक पितृशाही निज़ाम है. हमेशा एक ऐसा निज़ाम हमारा बनाया गया है कि जिसके अंदर हमेशा men जो है वो हमारे यहाँ elite पोजीशन पे है, बड़ी पोजीशन पे है. पर हमारे यहाँ जो access to services, so women always have limited access to services as compared to their male counterparts and to their male partners. So that also cause gender-based violence. And there are financial independencies. Financial independence is also one of the cause of. They are not financially independent. They are mostly dependent on their male partners. So gender-based violence also comes from the financial independence. uh, हमारे यहाँ if a man is being trafficked, and if he is being taken to someone to somewhere, and if he is being trafficked to other city, what would be the people saying? If he is being rescued and he is being recovered, so people would be saying कि जो है हाँ वो फंस गए और उनको डाकू लेके गए थे for somebody. But if they do the same with a girl, so what would we call it? We would call कि वो she is there with her will, and we as a society, as a brother, as a father, will raise questions, a question on her characters and her character, right? So there are multiple reasons. There are some stigmas attached ke, that woman cannot go outside, like she can't do job other than teaching, right? So there are myths and stigmas which also cause gender-based violence. Okay, now what are the different types of violence against women? Physical violence is any act that causes physical harm or injury. If I slap somebody, right? If I rob somebody and if I cause injury to someone physically, that would be called as domestic physical violence. Then comes a sexual violence. Any sexual act or attempt to obtain a sexual act through coercion or without consent, right? So if you look at someone, if you look at someone which you are making someone uncomfortable, you are passing some gestures which is unethical and which could be called as sexual acts or sexual, you are provoking her for something, so that is called as sexual violence. There comes psychological or emotional violence. You are torturing someone emotionally, action or behavior that cause emotional harm or distress, which is making someone uncomfortable. You are making someone stressful. You are making someone think extra. You are making someone think for the safety. So these all are the part of gender-based violence, right? Okay. Then there comes economic or financial violence, controlling or limiting a woman's access to financial resources. Women could have their own needs, and you are not providing her. You are not providing her the non-nafaka, and you are controlling her. You are centrally, managing the whole finances by yourself. It means that you are doing, you are provoking the economic or financial violence. There are the cultural or traditional violence, right? So practices that harm women and justified are cultural or traditional beliefs. Have you guys heard about the swara, swara and ghag हमारे पश्तून कल्चर के अंदर?
Yes, sir, but nowadays it is not very common. Swara, that
Do
someone
you know?
give her daughter
You haven't
to
witnessed swara case anywhere.
जी स्वरा जो है वो जब
If I
किसी
tell you that,
दुश्मनी के ऊपर हाँ जी किसी लड़की को दे दिया जाता था तो आजकल ये बहुत कम हो गया है पहले बहुत ज्यादा था
but that is the part of our culture. If I could tell you that I witnessed it this month, at the I witnessed it in November somewhere. So would you believe it? Would you believe it that I've witnessed the Swara case recently? Okay, Muniba Fazal. Muniba, would you want to say something? Because you have raised your hand twice.
I just answered the girl that he she said that is not common nowadays, but in our areas, I'm from a rural area, so there is also very common there. So not to say that it's not common, it's nowadays also common.
Okay, it is common, but there are enmities have reduced. हमारे यहाँ कबाइल के अंदर बहुत बड़ी दुश्मनियाँ होती थी. We have too many enmities, and which is now very at rare positions. We can find very rarely. If I could tell you of my village, so I have seen 3 or 4 such long time enmities between the two families. One family have murdered 8 young men from the other family, and I think the same number the other family have done to the other family. So हमारे यहाँ ओवरऑल जो है एज अ सोसाइटी शायद हम एज अ मेन को मारने कम लगे हैं, तो इसलिए इस तरह के केसेस जो है वो कम हुए हैं. Despite if it is reduced, but it have been the part of our culture, and it is still alive in our culture. जहाँ जहाँ जो है हमारे यहाँ दोस्ती या दुश्मनी में बदलेंगी, तो बीच में कुर्बानियाँ किसकी देनी पड़ेगी? तो ख़वातीन को जो है वो कुर्बानी की बकरी जो है उनको ही बनाना पड़ेगा, और उन्हीं के थ्रू जो है हमारी दुश्मनियाँ जो है और enmities would be converted to our friendships between the two families. Right? So these have been, whatever it is right. We are converting our enmity to the friendship, but it is wrong because we are imposing something. We are breaching the fundamental right. Okay. Okay, I'll answer the questions in the chat box later. Okay, so I'm just finishing the lecture first because I just covered a part of it. Okay, if you are provoking someone, if you are disturbing someone online, if you are making someone uh, uncomfortable online, so it means that you are doing online violence. You are sending pictures, you are taking screenshots, and you are doing all these things, right? So these are physical and mental health, psychosocial, economics, legal and human rights community, and societal. These are different forms of violences. Individuals, we can violence could be on communities, violence could be individual, and violence could be collective. So on individual there comes physical, mental health impacts. These have physical impacts. It could cause injury, it could harm harm, and physically, economically, and it does have some social and economic consequences. Okay, I'm again sorry. I'm very unwell again. Okay, what are the effects of gender-based violence against women and families in communities? If a ripple effect, it means that you create one ripple, it does move forward, and if it disturbs one community, it passes to other community, and it passes, and ultimately we are disturbing the whole community, and we are ultimately disturbing the whole area and the whole society. So it does have, gender-based violence have ripple effects on the families, and it does have long time societal effects. And as I have said already, हमारे दिन you would find such violence in our literature also, that जी अलग चितोषी लवंगिनशी वो कलर के साथ अगर हम लड़कियों को देखेंगे तो वो और खूबसूरत हो जाता है, वो लवंगीन हो जाता है, अच्छी अच्छी अतरी खुशबू आएंगी. लेकिन अगर वो if a girl become black, so then she should be selling the uh, bengal जो है उसको जो है वो बेचेंगी. So that's, you will find such violence in your literature also. Okay. Then comes हमारे यहाँ international legal frameworks. What are the international? This part was specifically for the people who are joining from South America. Okay, what are the United Nations declarations on human rights? So I tried to cover the uh, fundamental rights declarations, we have already studied the fundamental rights that is in the Constitution of Pakistan, and I would be urging you to study the Article 9, the in the first chapter from Article 9 to Article 25. You could, if you study these fundamental rights, clean and safe environment could be, and the 26th Constitution Amendment. Okay, so there is United Nations Declaration for Human Rights, right? So United Nations have said and they have agreed that without any discrimination, human beings across the world should have some uniformed fundamental rights, and which would be signed by all the nations. And when it is signed by all the nations, so it means that every country, every government, whether that is there is a dictatorship, there is a democracy, and there are other rulers, but all the countries who are signatory to this declaration would be will be following, would be providing these basic human rights to all their citizens. Okay, so Declaration for Human Rights, a foundational document. It is a foundational document that outlines the basic rights and freedoms to which all human beings are entitled. राइट, सो पूरी दुनिया के अंदर जितने भी लोग हैं वो उन राइट्स को और उन आज़ादियों को की जो है ये उनकी एक आउटलाइन डॉक्यूमेंट है, drafted by who drafted it by representatives from different legal and cultural backgrounds across the world, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on December 10th, 1948. What was the purpose of UDHR? It was to sets out fundamental rights to be universally protected. Right? As I've already mentioned that fundamental rights should be protected and should be given to all the human beings living in any part of the world, and attempts to promote peace, dignity, and equality across the globe, and promote equality Okay, so what are some? Do we have some political and some civil rights? Civil rights are those rights which are to be given by the state, and political rights should be the selection of the ruler or the selection of the government through democracy, right? So, protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, promotion of equity and non-discrimination, safeguarding of civil and political rights. Okay, there are some articles of जो हमारे यहाँ conventions है, right? So among the rights are individuals guaranteed by the article count are, right? उसके अंदर क्या है? The rights to legal resource when their rights have been violated, right? अगर किसी को जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस के तौर पे जो है अगर उनके खिलाफ वायलेंस किया गया है, तो इट मीन्स देयर शुड बी the government or the state should be responsible to give them the lawyer to the legal resource क्योंकि उनका केस जो है वो लड़े. So this is Article 1. Article 3, Article 2, Article 3 means the right to equality between men and women, right? So that both are the Allah's creatures, so both are equal. What are Article 6? The right to life and survival. The freedom from inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. The Article 8, the freedom from slavery and right. Article 9, the right to prison due to death, the
Excuse me,
right to
sir.
better affairs before law, the rights to be recognized. Ji?
I wanted to say only 5 minutes are left. Then we will start our question and answer session.
ओके 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 चलो मैं जस्ट पाकिस्तानी फ्रेमवर्क के ऊपर आता हूँ देन today's session was okay so do you guys know about the 18th constitutional amendment मैं just simply 18th amendment को मैं discuss करके फिर उसके बाद मैं उसके according कुछ बातें करूँगा and then we'll come to the question answer session okay so there have been a charter of democracy between the two parties, between the Pakistan People's Party and between the PMLN, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Group. कि हम we will be converting some powers from the since Pakistan is a federation. Federation means that it has some federating units. So different governments are there, and which collectively have a federal government, and every independent governments. These are the called as the federating units. So and the 18 amendments, uh, the political parties, the political leadership agreed that we transfer the powers from the that we transfer the powers from center to the provinces. So if law of the land is different anywhere, so because Sindh have different geographic realities and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan have different reality. So according to the government have done different legislation, different provinces have done different legislation against the gender-based violence, against harassment. There have been committees developed, and there have been different organizations are working on it. And I'll now come just what are the basic fundamental rights. जिसका मैंने आपको आर्टिकल 8 से आगे आपको कहा था कि आप लोग पढ़े आर्टिकल 28 तक राइट तो आर्टिकल 8 में क्या गए थे लॉज इनकंसिस्टेंट विद और इन डिरोगेशन ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट्स टू बी वाइट राइट जो भी लॉस होंगे जो कि हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स के साथ अलाइन नहीं हो वो हमारे साथ नल एंड वाइट होंगे or any other authority if they have laws. Uh, right? Okay. Right to fair trial. Then right to fair trial. स्लेवरी प्रोस आर्टिकल 9 के अंदर अब ये उसके अंदर वो हुआ है कि मैं उसको एग्जैक्ट देख लूंगा बट उसके अंदर पर मैं लेटर बात करूंगा एनवायरनमेंट के हवाले से राइट आर्टिकल 11 कहता है स्लेवरी पोस्ट लेबर प्रोहिबिटेड आर्टिकल्स राइट जो भी स्लेवरी को या फोर्स लेबर को जो है या चाइल्ड लेबर के हवाले से है तो दोज विल बी prohibited whatever constitution whatever uh, legislation you are doing but if there is slavery in it if there's forced labor in it those will be prohibited and those articles shall not be signed or shall not be passed from any assembly punishment against retrospective punishment right protection against double punishment and self incrimination and violability of dignity of men फ्रीडम ऑफ मूवमेंट फ्रीडम ऑफ असम्बली आप कहीं भी जा सकते हैं आप असम्बली कर सकते हैं आप गैदर कर आप जलसा कर सकते हैं आप खिताब कर सकते हैं आप एसोसिएशन बना सकते हैं आप एनजीओ बना सकते हैं आप यू हैव फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच आप अपने ख्यालात का इजहार कर सकते हैं फ्रीडम टू प्रोफेस रिलीजन आप वट एवर द रिलीजन्स यू हैव विच इज़ जनास प्रिंसिपल you are free to go to your temples, to your mosques, and the state has nothing to do, no business. and आप कौन सा religion follow करते हैं, आप क्या करते हैं, that is on state business. Freedom to profess religion, safeguard against taxation for purposes of any particular religion, safeguard is to educational institution in respect of religion, provision is property protection of property rights, equity of citizens, equality of citizens, right to education. So there are different rights. I'll share these slides with Hamid, and you can then take it. So today's session was again, well, it was an advanced form of the gender-based violence that we already had a session. Uh, so if you have any question, or if you want to add anything, so I would be happy to uh, take your comment, and if I could answer your query, I would love to answer your question. So uh, the forum is open.
Sir, now I hope you all learned a lot about from today's session. Now let's move to one question and answer sessions. You can ask your questions by raising your hand and unmute your mic one by one, or you can DM in the chat. So, sir, first question is from Gabriel.
Okay, we have some questions in the, is it in the chat box? Chat box में question है. How can we help inhabitants of a country where there are confusing traditional or cultural limiting cultural limiting beliefs that lead certain people to act violently? Okay, then everyone mention your names. We just only have one questions, right? From Gabriela. Yeah, Gabriela. Do we have you here? See, Pakistan, if the question is asked in the context of Pakistan, so we have different, traditions. We have different cultures, and we have a very rich culture. If you Punjab have a separate culture, even in the Punjab, in the southern Punjab, in the western, so eastern Punjab. So there are different cultures. In our Pashtun, you would find a very harsh culture, you would find moderate culture, and you would find a very open culture. So the cultural complexity does cause these things, and since we do found it in our literature, and since all of these have happened for centuries, and if I tell you about the Pashtun culture, so Pashtun culture is 5,000 years old culture. So we cannot eradicate it at once, but I would say with education, with awareness, and uh, taking some baby steps, we would be able to end the gender-based violence. And since above the culture is the constitution, which is the agreement of the state with its citizens, that what are the fundamentally their rights, and what are the rights, and what are the state's responsibilities, and what are the government's responsibilities. So I think with proper legislation and with proper education and awareness, we would be able to reduce the gender-based violence, it not end it. Yes. Second question.
Sir, the word harassment also fall under the violence.
Anshara, I'm very sorry, but I'm not, if you can even ask your question in Urdu or in Pashto, but I'm not getting you.
सर, मैं कह रही हूँ कि जो वर्ड harassment है, वो भी violence के अंडर ही आता है.
देखिए, हमने फंडामेंटल राइट्स की बात की थी कि आप किसी को जो है, यू कैनॉट डिस्टर्ब समवन harassment itself is a violence, you know. But if it as I said, that if something which cause damage, which if it does cause emotional damage, and if it does cause physical damage or harm, so it is coming in violence. So violence, harassment is also a form of harassment. Yes, you can count it in. Any other question? Any other question?
सर जिस तरह आपने हमें जी सर मैं पूछना चाह रही जिस तरह आपने हमें समझाया कि ये वायलेंस में ये चीजें आ रही हैं तो अगर इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखा जाए तो तकरीबन 99% जो है वुमेन जो है वो तो वायलेंस का शिकार ही हैं पाकिस्तान में
जी जी।
चाहे वो पढ़ी लिखी हैं चाहे वो नहीं पढ़ी लिखी हैं कुछ भी हो जाए वो वायलेंस का शिकार हैं तो यहाँ पे रह के तो तकरीबन सभी बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं इन सब चीजों को तो नो वॉइस
Sir, you are not
हेलो
clear.
हेलो आवाज आ रही है किसी को
Sir, your mic is mute. Please unmute your mic. Sir, please unmute your mic. Sir, please unmute your mic.
Yes, thank you so much, our moderator, for nice discussion. I really want to appreciate you. This is Akansasra Junior Victor from Uganda, the ED Nurture African Youth Network, a youth empowerment and SDGs advocacy network. When we talk about issues to do with the GBVs, it is really alarming. And I want to really appreciate Mr. Saha, who was today's discussant. His presentation was really elaborate and on point. And when it comes to us in Africa, and particularly in Uganda, the government is really trying to ensure that the gender-based violence campaigns reach the grassroots However, there are issues to do with advocacy that is really lacking, especially in the hard to reach areas. That is really curtailed with negative social and cultural norms that I really want us to panel beat and see how we can partner and ensure that the vulnerable communities are reached out to. And that's my query, and I wish to hear from you and see how best we can partner with you guys here in Uganda. I thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akan Sasira. I'm highly grateful that you attended the session and you have got this situation that what we are doing at Pakistan. Yeah, it is alarming. I would must say that, but things have been changed, have been improved. We not only we the government is not only serious with the campaign, but this time we have not only engaged the organizations, but we have seen the government departments, we have seen the government, we have seen the National Assembly and the provincial assemblies of Pakistan who were participating in the campaign of the gender-based violence. So, since you are collaborating with the Women Pursuing Technology, and the very motto of this organization is to empower women across the globe. So, sure, we are open to any partnerships that you offer. We can share the expertise. If you call me for the sessions, we would call you to our sessions. So far, we can do that. We can organize some online campaigns together. We can share the situation, we can write the articles, and we can do research together. So far, these are the areas I think we can work together. And as our organizations are new babies, so as organization grows, so we would definitely want that we launch some giant initiatives and which are woman friendly and which are gender friendly. So surely we can do work. Thank you so much. And as there have been another question asked by Noor, Noor, you know, we need to look at this in the context of that things are improving or things are not improving, right? Uh, if things are improving, so I think I would say that we are going the right way. If we are not going the right, if things are not changing and we are seeing violation against women and the government is not taking any measures to ensure the safety of the female or woman, we would then be saying that we are facing. So yeah, we in the society does face violence, and you as a girl will be knowing much better. So we can in the next sessions we can also discuss this. And um, yeah, I think we are going the right way. And since I've already shared the statistic with you in my previous session, which was that globally the ratio of the gender-based violence is reduced since for last I think for last 3 years. But yet, home is again becoming a worse place for women. In 2023, 41% of the violences came from the intimate partners, whether those were husbands
Now,
or those were boyfriends. Right? So, yeah, things are improving, but at certain time we are also facing many challenges, and we need to encounter those challenges. Yes, sir.
code then yeah. You put back that name. Code David is here. Let's go back. Go back with the R. Go back with the R. The R takes you back before you delete it. Mm. I skipped that person, I think. That you wrote a code David. And you came and you wrote a code Satanasium. Let me first ask now, these people. The next two names.
Uh, I'm sorry, sir. You were not rightly audible, but I would again say, if I'm rightly audible, you do connect to Hamid. We can share our knowledge. We can share our research. And as organizations grow, we can launch some giant initiative. We are always open to collaborations with you. Uganda is a developing country, and it is, I recently watched some videos. It have done lots of development, not only legislatively, but it have developed a massive infrastructure. The urban mobility is very, very good. So yeah, we would definitely love to collaborate with you, and we would always love to, to support you there, and we would love to use your expertise here. So with this, I close the session, and thank you once again, everybody. Thank you for joining. Allah Hafiz.